I've parked up in places, and the only drama I've kind of had was somebody knocking on my door. Well, how can I put it? One in a good time. But it's just more of a case of... There we go. And she's in. No matter what's going on outside, as soon as you're in there, nothing else matters.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're meeting up with Joey, otherwise known as Road Viking, who's living in his van.
Make sure you stick around for the full tour to see exactly how he makes it work. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you think. Back to it.
My name's Joe, also known as Joey, also known as Road Viking, and I live in a 2001 Iveco Daily. I've been in this van 3.5 years. Previous I had a little van that I was in and out of kind of what got me into it. I guess being a single man and living in a house, you know, you don't have much to spare at the end. You know, I was working full time and I had a nice house and I had the dream of what people would normally call it. You know, I didn't own the house, but I rented it. But it was working all week to then sit on my nice sofa for 3 hours on a Sunday and then working all week again to then do it again, and it's just like you get to a repetitive thing. And I think when you're trying to have the house and the job and you're by yourself, you end up being like, well, at the end of the week I ain't got a pot to piss in really, have I? Do you know what I mean? It got to the point where it's like a bit tedious, you know. I think you get fed up of trying to keep on top of the bills and miss a bill to pay a bill to miss a bill. I've always felt like I was stuck and never really felt like I found my way. You know, you kind of, I guess well, me personally, I fell into that place of like, well, I don't really feel like I have meaning, you know, and it got to that point where it was like, well, what can I do about it? And I was like, how can I make this better for me? Because I didn't want to work 5 days a week, well, 6 days a week at the time was what I was doing. So it became a point where I ended up going, do you know what? I want a bigger van that I can live in. And this is where this came into it. You know, got this old girl and it had a caravan conversion in it, and it was like, it was the beginning of something. You know, I didn't know what it was, I wasn't sure where I was going and what I was doing, but I just had a plan of, I want to work less and see more. I quit my job, I handed over the keys to my flat and I hit the road and I went to Scotland with, I think I had like 300 quid in my pocket at the time. You know, I had no plans. I thought, you know what, I'm going to start my own business, and that was how it worked. I was a mobile mechanic and I helped with camper van builds all over the UK. Don't get me wrong, I never got into it to make money, I never got into it to make millions of pounds. I got into it to work for 1 day and then have a week off, you know? And then I'd work for 2 days and then I'd have a month off, you know, and that was the goal for me. I didn't want to work so much, that was the plan. I think I worked it out where I needed to make 150 quid a week to stay afloat. Yeah, I earned enough to get by. And don't get me wrong, like I say now, I've jumped into this little job, but that's a means to an end to progress further. I've got a friend who's opened up an MOT garage. For me to get to where I want to go, it would take me a lot longer to get to my goal if I was to continue doing what I was doing. So one of my friends offered me to run an MOT station, so I've to become an MOT tester. I'm going to get my MOT license. So yeah, I've ended up taking that on. Well, Caffrey is a Iveco Daily 2001. She has got the 2.8 engine, which is, for me, I think, without upsetting Iveco owners, it is the better engine than the 2.3, just saying. 175,000 mile now. Throwing on the bonnet bra on it, which was to stop the stone chips, but makes more stone chips because there's little nipples all over it where the stone's underneath. We've got the old visor on the top. Does absolutely nothing other than look cool.
Alright guys, it wouldn't be possible to continue the channel without our sponsors, and today, that's Surfshark. So let's talk about something that we all use but probably don't think about.
Public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fi is basically a playground for hackers, and that's where Surfshark comes in with their VPN, a virtual private network, which keeps all of your online activity safe by encrypting your data and making sure no one's snooping for your info. But that's not all. Let's say you're traveling or you just want to watch a show on Netflix that's only available in another country. With Surfshark, switch your browsing location and you've unlocked a whole new world of shows. I recommend Arcane League of Legends, which I'm currently watching right now.
And what's also cool about Surfshark is that it works on multiple devices, meaning you, your family and your friends can all use it under one account. So Surfshark isn't just the VPN, they have other features such as antivirus protection. And let's be honest, we can all use that. We certainly don't want to be getting a virus halfway through editing up a video.
Surfshark can also help you avoid price discrimination based on your location. Like when booking flights, if you change your virtual location, then it can save you some much needed cash.
So if you want to surf the web safely, access more content and save some cash, check out Surfshark, the link will be in the description. They're doing a 30-day money back guarantee, so it's literally risk-free. Visit surfshark.com/liberation or enter coupon code liberation for an extra 4 months free. The link will be in the description. And with that, back to the video.
Well, it's an extra long wheelbase, so it's 7.5 metres long. Before this I had a T4, so I wanted something that was a lot bigger than that and more space as I could get. Well, the bright red, obviously originally it was either a Royal Mail van or was it Parcel Force? She's also named Shadow because they got the mascot on the dashboard. So Shadow is red and black, the van's red and black, and it kind of just stuck out for me. So when I was looking for a van and this one popped up in red and black, I was like, wow, it's calling my name. You know, I need to buy it. Tell you about my little motorcycle. No, a lot of people would say that I'm more like Donkey Kong when I'm riding this, which is fine. But it's a 125 Bullet Heritage. It saves me having to get the van out all the time. I can leave it packed away and I can just jump on this thing and go about. So if I need to jump to work, I need to pop to the shop, I haven't got to pack the whole van down to use it. I shove this in the sliding door when I'm moving about. It just gets strapped to the passenger seat so it can't actually go anywhere. It makes life massively easier. Let's see if we can get it in the van, and it's how I do it. I could have a ramp. Yes, of course I could. Throwing 80 kilogram into a van is not as easy as it kind of looks, but it's just more of a case of like that, and then there we go. And she's in. Fold the handlebars down. When I'm moving, I put her on the main stand and then she just gets literally pulled tight to my passenger seat. Obviously when I'm actually parked up and I'm in it and I don't want to leave it outside, with the handlebars folding flat, she can sit right against the sliding door. So I've still got full run of the van. Compact bike, but it is what it is. I'm a bit out of breath doing that, look. So the van is designed to be fully off-grid. I can be fully off-grid power-wise. If there was no sun and I wasn't driving and it was staying still, I could stay off-grid for 2 weeks without having to deal with anything else if I don't use the laptop. I have got 325 watts of solar on the roof. There's 2 max air fans, which one on the front, one on the rear. So you can have one blowing in and one blowing out, and then you get like a turbo of air going around inside. And obviously you got the awning, which is not an awning, I didn't want a big chunky awning that was going to be on the side of the van in the corner. I wanted something I could take off and it'd be completely clean, because I like the way it looks without damaging it by putting something big, massive and chunky on the top, because I think people kind of take out the style when they try and build some vans, you know. Well, this is the Vegaseer, as I like to call it. Obviously it's a pagan thing. Most people, it's easier just to tell people it's a compass, let's be honest, right? But it's more to sort of like guide you in rough times and protect you and that kind of thing. So it's more like when I'm traveling, you can always find your way home, as they call it, but it's always my home, you know? So I just like it, you know what I mean? I don't really tend to show people that, but you can see the spray foam there, look. Obviously on a proper sunny day, I can lift all that up so I end up having the bed. So you can sit out with a nice view if you ever do get one, the old typical Instagram video. My garage being a mechanic, obviously we have everything in there. You know, I can do pretty much every job out the back of this van. This is where all the weight comes from. This is why I keep talking about keeping the weight down, is because there's quite a bit in the back end of this ball, but I'll go. I've got mostly my tools this side, but over the back end is all like kind of like my big box of shoes that I never wear. You got my 240 hookup. I do plan on changing this for a black one. We do have a poo door, but the poo door goes to nowhere because it was on there before when I got the van first. The water point there, the windows are already in it. I assume they were out of the caravan that the interior came out of. I bought this for £4 as it was when I first got it. Just neglected on someone's driveway, and then I've built it up to what it is now. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was to say how much it kind of cost me now with all everything that's in it and what I've done to it mechanically wise as well, it's probably a 9-10 grand van. My shower setup is just literally a bucket of water. This is a 12 volt rechargeable. Go on. Look at that. What more do you need? A big old bucket. You don't need any more than a bucket shower. You're doing something wrong, ain't you? One thing I have learned in living this lifestyle is not to be afraid to just do things for yourself. You know, I think so many people overthink things and think, well, you feel like you're being selfish in a way. And I kind of felt like that at the beginning. You know, it was more like my family were all around this sort of way and I've just disappeared off, you know, and it was like, well, but you've got to go, well, what about my happiness? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't think about everyone else all the time. It's time for me to do what I need to do. The people that I've met along the way has been amazing, you know, and I wouldn't change it for the world, you know. I think once you push yourself out of that comfort zone to find your meaning and your people is in a sense, you know, the people I've met across travelling, some of them have been friends for life, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, when you're constantly unsure about your future. When I was living like that before and then went travelling, and I look back now and I'm just so thankful that I had the cojones to do it, you know. It's like, well, just take that jump and be like, right, what's the worst that could happen? You know, I always say that, what's the worst that could happen? You go back to doing what you did before. How can I put it? I'm trying to explain this without upsetting some other van lifers, right? I don't mean this in a direct way or any way, shape or form, right? But I always say there's different types of van lifers and people that live on the road and live nomadically. There's people that choose they want to do it. There's people that are running away from something. And there's people that, you know, they've been forced into it, you know, and that's everyone comes from a different background. I'm not saying everyone's moulded into a certain way. I just mean, like, you meet some strange people, right? And I've met some interesting people that, you know, that's the perk about living in a van. You can, if your neighbour's a bit strange, right, you just go, oh, I'm off. Do you know what I mean? The only kind of trouble I've ever had, and I like to think that my van is very masculine in its own way, that it's sort of, you know, I like to think you look at it and go, a man owns that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how it works with me. And it's like, I've parked up in places, and the only drama I've kind of had was somebody knocking on my door. Well, how can I put it? One in a good time. I've just found this little park up, and it was in like a sort of back green alley, and I thought, okay, we'll settle down for the night. And then I heard a knock on the door, and I'm like, oh, is it police? Right? So I dropped the blind a little bit, but he knocked the door, and he was like, hello? And I was like, hello? And he's like, can I come in? I'm like, no. I was like, but if you do come in, you're going out in pieces, right? And he just went, oh, sorry, and just scuffled his little feet. And then you could hear him sort of scuffle around the van, get in his car and drive off. And it was like one of those moments where it was like, I don't know what he wanted, right? But I'm pretty sure he wasn't, that wasn't what I was after. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, I've never had any drama. And this is what I kind of say to people all the time, right? And they're like, oh, do you not feel unsafe and stuff when you park up and stuff like that? And I'm like, just go by your gut feeling. If you go to park up somewhere, and you turn up and you look around and you feel a bit off, go somewhere else. Favourite thing? I think it just goes on and on. You know, for me, I don't know, I think as I've got older, I've come a bit more of an introvert, and I like my own space. Well, I think once you realise that your own company is the best company, I don't know, it's weird, you get that weird sense of comfort, you know, because I'm in control of what I'm doing. I'm in control of where I'm going, you know, and who's around me, you know. I love that. It is a perk. But the best thing about it is that sense of freedom that it gives you. And I know probably a lot of people say that sense of freedom and you know, it's able to be like, I own my own house. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's there. Like, I own that. I remember like in that position of like trying to pay bills, and technically you're never going to own that house anyway, are you? You know, not being funny, but if you've got no one to hand it down to, it goes back to the government anyway, right? So I don't want to invest my money in bricks and mortar. I want to invest it in something that's going to create memories. And I'm sat there on my little deck chair one day, and I look back and I go, well done, Joe, you did it right. You know what I mean? Hey? Exactly. Well done, Joe, you did it right. Do you know what I mean? I love it, I do. I do love it. I like to call this one like the office, because obviously you've got this spinny chair, so I can actually sit on the sofa and have it around that way, or I can sit here and with like a conservatory. I like to call it like the little conservatory on this side. But obviously we've got the spinny table that runs round, we've got the spinny chair. But other than that, we've got down here, we've got my diesel eater. I've got the YouTube channel and stuff like that, and I like to game a lot, so having the laptop, you can do it all on this. I can watch TV, edit my videos and do pretty much everything I need to do on that. I do have a 500 watt inverter down here, which is just enough to power my laptop and charge all my dual batteries and stuff like that. Underneath that sofa there is 200 amps of Renogy lithium, which has been a game changer. I've got a 40 amp solar charge controller up there. I've got obviously the foil blinds that can go on the front windows. Normally I'd leave them down and just put this curtain down. It separates the cab from the back. So this was my bed originally. So it does lift up and out, so that's even more storage down there. But that is handy because it can go down to a double bed. So if I've ever got people around and they want to stay over, they've got somewhere to stay. My old man gave me this little plaque. He thought it was quite funny. Joe's workshop. I can fix anything except stupid. And let's be honest, that's pretty true, isn't it? Let's be honest. Tree of life, you know, little Viking ship, you know, just, yeah, little things. I'm not an interior designer, you know, I have no idea. If I feel something looks kind of good, I even bought these cushions the other day. I was well proud of myself. You can see the spray foam that's running around the sides, and that is on the ceiling and on the walls, and then it's a 50mm on the floor Celotex. That was 400 quid to get the whole van done. I've got the LED lights that run all the way down the side for the roof, runs off a remote, not on a switch, which obviously comes from that bit there. I've got the old kitchen light that runs here. A lot of things in my van are only meant to be temporary, but they kind of stuck. Same as this whole desk. That was the original one I put in. I ended up putting another top on it, another side on it. We got the little sink. It is the tiniest sink ever, right? And it's more like a salad bowl. It's not a salad bowl, it actually was a sink, but obviously it runs off a little whale pump that runs down to this 25 litre I've got here. So I hold 25 litres of water, and then there's a spare one next to it, which is a 10 litre. Usually that one's used for showers. Obviously cooking wise, I just use the camping stove. You can always find the camping gas tins from Halfords, you can get B&M, you can go anywhere and pick these up. So for me, that's always been easier to do. And if I need to cook two things, I do have a little camping stove that runs off the little gas bottles as well. I do have an air fryer, but that's only when I'm on hookup, because otherwise I'd live out the air fryer and then I'd become a really big guy. So we got over here, we got a 50 litre Alpi cool fridge. This thing, I thought it was too big at the beginning, but for me personally, with everything in there, it's perfect. Other than that, we've got down here, in this little door here, I have got a Simplu toilet in there, which has got a carbon filter on it. When people are like, oh yeah, you're shitting in a bucket. Yeah, technically yes, but it's a composting toilet and it's got a carbon filter on it where you can't smell nothing. Even in the peak of summer, you can't smell nothing out of that one. But that just slides out on the rail here, and then it becomes, you know, and you can even take it out and have a poo with a view. And I love that. You know what I mean? I was on about fixing it in. I was like, no, do you know what? It's going to be that time where I want to sit outside and I want to sit on my little bog. And this is what I always say to people, like, just because I live in a van doesn't mean I have to skimp out on stuff. So that toilet wasn't cheap, but it's a good throne. Do you know what I mean? It's a good throne. Yeah, my telly is a Cello 22 inch, I think it is. That runs next to nothing off my battery bank. And I can also turn it round for movie nights in bed, see? Obviously the old signs on the side, don't take life too seriously, nobody gets out alive anyway. And I couldn't think of anything more true, let's be honest. Double bed, and then obviously on the other side, we've got all my storage of clothing. I put my winter stuff more down the bottom, and then I just sort of switch around as the weather permits. Yeah, them storage bottoms go right down to the bottom of the side of the garage area. I can get underneath the bed that way. You can sort of see my Simplu toilet there. Make it a bit easier. That's my food area. Other than that, that's down here. Other than that, yeah, I didn't want cupboards because cupboards get in the way and whatever. I just wanted it to be open and you can just pull a little container out and it's all there in front of you. You know, it's not the end of the world where you can just do that to get out all your stuff. You're not having to deal with a cupboard door that's in the way. I do have Wi-Fi, which runs off an aerial that's on the roof. But majority of the time it is better off my phone with hotspot because this is Wi-Fi 6 compatible. Goes over my head, I don't know, magic, can it? You know, how things work in the air. I was going to talk about the whole kind of mental health side of it, you know, and that was more of a big thing to me. And I know a lot of people deal with that whole mental health thing, and I know it's come up a long way. But for me as well, personally, you know, being able to get in my van and disappear and go away, and no matter where I am in the country, if I shut the door, it's my safe space, you know, I'm all good, you know, and that's given me that tranquility, as you probably call it, to just, yeah, the peace. And it's just, as soon as I shut that door, all my problems go away, you know, it doesn't matter where I am packed in the world. And that was the cool thing I love about that, is taking your own home everywhere, is no matter what's going on outside, as soon as you're in there, nothing else matters. You know, I could be in the best place in the world, I could be in the worst place, but going back to my little sanctuary is what means the most to me, you know, and it levels my head. The future goal is to, like I say, next year I will be getting a touring bike and I will be doing some touring around Europe. That is the plan. Potentially maybe even buy land while I'm travelling next year for my first plot. And then I just want to use my holiday to bounce to and from that until the time's right, you know, and then I go, right, well, it's time to hit the road again and make something else somewhere else, you know, and that's the plan. I always say to people, if you've got a car, throw a sleeping bag in it and just go off and travel somewhere, or to head into Scotland. It's beautiful, right? And just find some nice places and wild camp and see if it's cool for you, you know, because last thing you want to do is invest loads of money in a van and next thing you know you're miserable and you don't like it and you want to get back out of it again anyway. I've met so many people that have got that idea and that passion for it, but when it comes down to it, they're like, actually, you know, I'm lonely. And it's like, well, that's only human to be lonely, obviously, but yeah, I feel like you've got to prep yourself, right? Unless you're being forced into it, obviously then you've got no choice. But if you've got an option, just slowly progress yourself into it. Otherwise, you're going to end up having a tricky time if you're not mentally there with it. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming out and obviously interviewing me. But if you want to see more about what I'm all about, I'm Road Viking on Instagram and I'm Road Viking on YouTube.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in there, and a big thanks to Joey for sharing the story and showing us around.
Make sure to check them out on the socials. All the links will be down below, and let us know in the comments what you thought of the video. We'll see you in the next one.